Hi guys, welcome to our first podcast. And today is a special day because it's my 12 years anniversary in Germany. Exactly 12 years ago, on this day, 7th of November, I landed in Berlin. So it's a special day for me today, but actually it's also a special day for Karim.
It is indeed. It's not my 12th year anniversary, it's my 1 month anniversary. So I just moved to Berlin exactly this time 1 month ago. So it's a special day for both of us.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about life and work in Germany, about our experiences from 1 month perspective and 12 years perspective. We want to share our experiences with you, and maybe you will have also some questions. You can leave them in comments. Next time we will try to answer them. So let's start.
Absolutely. Well, before we dive straight into the questions, Aydan, how do you feel 12
Yeah.
years later? How,
Yeah.
how was it? Tell us.
Yeah, actually, I also wrote my LinkedIn post today, and somehow when I wrote my last post, okay, I'm since 11 years, still I felt okay, but today I wrote 12 years in Germany. Somehow it felt a bit heavy.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine.
To realize I'm from Azerbaijan, born there and lived there until I was 19 years old. Then I moved to China for my bachelor degree. I lived there for 4 years, and directly after China, I moved to Germany. And this is my final destination. I'm here since 12 years, and mostly my whole adulthood was here. And this is also very special feeling that actually, like, I don't remember too much about my school years. I remember a bit more about my bachelor years in China. That was amazing times, but I still decided to move to Germany after China. And when I moved, I think I didn't realize that I will stay so long here. It's not that I had other plans, but I just didn't think about it. It's just like I finished my bachelor, then I thought what to do next, where to do my master's. The option was either to stay in China for masters or to go to other country, and at the end decided to go to Germany. But when I landed here 12 years ago, I didn't think I will stay here forever, and I had no idea how it will be like.
But okay, so taking you back to, let's say, 12 years ago, trying to remember, what made you make that decision
Yeah.
to move to Germany at that time?
Yeah, so in China it was great for bachelor, but somehow it felt a little bit like being in a bubble, because mostly foreigners living there in their own bubble. You can never get their unlimited residence permit. Your visa is very dependent on your work, and basically you're always in some unsettled situation. And I didn't want to have this unsettled situation for long, and I knew that if I'm, for example, in Germany, if I work there long term, at some point it's possible to get unlimited visa and then also a German passport. And also Germany is a bit closer to Azerbaijan than China. If I would stay in China, it would mean I see my parents really rare. I knew they're not gonna come to China, yeah, and that's why with all this, let's say, logistics point of view, and this was one point, and the second point was that German is really famous for the education here, for the quality of the education, and that's why decided to come here. And I wouldn't say it was like super obvious decision. It was just it was one risk, because from one side I've been to China, where I know everything already. I know the language, the culture, and then it was kind of going into nowhere again and starting from zero. Yeah.
And did you feel like in the beginning, were you doubting yourself to come over? Like, what got you over that mental side?
Yeah, I would say in my age now, with 35, I would think really 1,000 times before doing something. But back then I was 22, and it was just kind of gambling, you know. It was like just, okay, if not China, then what? Okay, Europe, Germany, and it was even like, okay, Germany, but which city? And then, yeah, most probably a capital, right?
Yeah.
So it was like really not too much thinking or researching, and back then there was not so much chances to research. It was before the whole social media. Now we can read, for example, my LinkedIn and know already a lot in advance. But for me, when I was moving, it was really like going. It was like black box. Yeah, I had no idea what it is. I had some imagination about Germany, and then I come here, and it was really just a surprise. You know, it was a risk, and at the end everything worked out really well. But yeah, I wouldn't say I was doing too much research. It's just like, okay, what should be the first step? Language school. After language school, masters. After masters, working. And then it's like kind of learning by doing.
Yeah, like you really fascinate me because you said that you know 4 languages.
Yeah,
that's correct? And
5.
5 languages.
Yeah,
wow.
exactly. Yeah.
And did that help you, let's say, move to a new country when you know that you can pick up languages very quickly?
Yeah. So this is a good question. It was like a trick. I was tricked by my own mind that I thought, okay, I learned Chinese in 4 years, and this is one of the most difficult languages in the world. And then I thought, yeah, if I learned this language, if I went through all difficulties in a new country, so much different than my country, than Europe, in China, yeah. So I already overcame so many challenges, and cultural wise and language wise. And then I thought, yeah, Germany, you know, like it's Europe, it must be like super easy for me. And then I come, and then I start German language course every day, 6 hours, and after 6 hours, maybe again 6 hours for the homework, for the preparation or for exams. And I realized, oh my God, I really didn't count with that. I didn't know that it will be so difficult, and the German grammar really hurted.
Yeah, because I've started learning Duolingo.
Yeah.
It's very slow paced, like it's not. Everyone suggests that I need to take a course.
Actually true. Yeah. The thing is, they have this advertisement about Duolingo and similar apps, but I think first of all it's very slow, and then it's, as you said, it's super repetitive, and you don't feel maybe progress. They give you some everyday phrases, but really for learning language, I see at least 1 year intensive course. It's super important. I did 8 months. And it was super intensive. So usually you get you make each level, let's say A1 2 months, then you go to A2 2 months.
Is A1 the best, or
no? I mean, like for each level you need 2 months time at usual courses. But my course was super intensive. That's why it was 1.5 months, and this is too intensive. It basically, you are just learning everything, try to memorize just to pass the exam. We passed the exam after 1.5 months, and then we had directly to go next day into new level. And again, learning to pass, learning to pass, learning to pass. 8 months, 7-8 months passed. I got C1 level on paper, but I could barely talk. I couldn't implement the knowledge. I knew the grammar, I passed the exams, okay, great, but I came out of these courses, I went to a job interview, and I couldn't say 2 sentences. It was so hard just to get from this what we learn into actual speaking. It was really challenging. That's why I would say it's necessary to do the courses, but also it's super important to practice through to practice, not to speak English. For example, the mistake for me was that with my classmates I was always speaking English because it's more comfortable. But if you want to learn, you have to forget English and forget about the comfort and push yourself. Speak German every day with classmates, with teachers, when you go outside to buy something. Practice is super important.
Practice is key. No, I agree. And I suppose that was one of the big shocks that you had in the beginning, like the language shock. What other shocks did you have in the very beginning, and how did you sort of get over it?
I would say a lot of shocks, because many people abroad outside of Germany, they know German quality, made in Germany. Efficiency, punctuality. It feels like this is the most perfect country ever. Like, I even imagined for myself that the roads would be like perfect, and the sidewalks would be like perfect. Everything would be like, you know, from perfect movie. And then arriving and realizing it's just normal, you know. It's like some places even same like in our country or in other countries that I thought like the reputation is great that everything is perfect here. We tend to idealize some places. I think it's the same for America, right? We see the movie. Like, this was one culture shock about expectation and reality visually. And then also I lived in student dormitory, which was horrible, in not the nicest area, and I saw a lot of Turkish shops and I could speak Turkish to them, and I'm like, am I in Istanbul or am I in Germany? You know, like, I see more foreigners and foreign shops around, and this area wasn't too representative, let's say, and matching my picture of Germany. But then I lived there like for 4 months. Then I moved to other area and it was much more. I was in the south of Berlin. Yeah, it was a private house and for a small forest in the neighborhood, and all nice houses, and it seemed more what I imagined. Yeah, I would say like these visual culture shocks, and yeah, of course the language and the weather was also shocking, because
it's better in Azerbaijan, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's about, Azerbaijan is very sunny. We have so many sunny days there, and in Beijing it was actually also a lot of sunny days, sometimes smoke, but mostly it's warm and sunny, and in the summer it's very hot, and in winter it was fine. Yeah, but here it's not about the temperature but about the grayness. I arrived here in November, and that's why I also wrote today on my LinkedIn, never arrive in November, because you come in November, the temperature is changing, becoming colder, everything is super gray, you are entering the winter, and the winters are long here. It's like sometimes it feels it's like half year winter here, 6 months.
This is one thing I'm actually very worried about, because I've never experienced really intense winter in Ireland. Usually it's just the most is -1 degrees, -2 degrees, but it never hits. I've heard it goes down to like -15.
Yeah, rarely. But I would say for you maybe it's less culture shock, because in UK it's also pretty gray. And here it's also gray. That's why for you it will be, I think you're most used to that, but for me, coming from such sunny countries, coming here and experiencing like almost 6 months of grayness, and then when it's so gray and cold, then people are also colder, and you see like so many gray faces, depressed also heads, depressed, and I even thought this is normal, you know. And then the next shock was when the spring came, and all of a sudden everyone is smiling and looking much happy, and I was like, oh, it wasn't a long-term thing, like it's also changed, and it really, this switch really feels so clear, you know, from this bad winter weather, and then the spring come. As soon as it's a bit warm, everyone like takes off everything, and even exaggerating, and already wearing t-shirts when it's just 15 degrees in spring, and shorts and whatever. And I would say those points, because I came in November.
So okay, so now that you've got over, let's say, the first couple of years, you've experienced, let's say, the major shocks, tell me about your career journey. How did that start? And then you know, a bit more information about that.
Sure. Yeah, so for my bachelor, I studied Chinese language. At that time, this made more sense, because if I would take other subject and study it in Chinese, it will be double challenging. So we got the advice that it's better to do bachelor in Chinese language and to learn the language properly. So but I knew that I want to work in business and not being a translator or, let's say, language teacher. And for that, I had to do different subject for masters. And when I came to Germany, actually, like in Azerbaijan, in China also, it's not a big problem to have different subjects, like your bachelor and masters. It wasn't a problem at all. But here, it's really so strict that when you come to apply for masters, they said, but you didn't study that during your bachelor, so you need to do second bachelor. And it was really disappointing because no way I wanted to do masters in Chinese again or something similar. That's why it took me long to find something what will fit me for masters. Came to Germany for 1 year for language course, and I was expecting that the second year in Germany I would already start masters. But because of this challenge that it has, like they have this rule, I had to search even longer, so it took 2 years. I had such a small choice. I had only 2 universities in Germany that had offered programs, Chinese plus business. I chose Chinese European Business Economic Studies. It was perfect, and it was in Berlin. Yeah, it was in English language. Also, one of the expectations, I thought, because I studied 1 year German, I will study my master's also in German. But after 1 year, I realized it's not enough. So that's why I'm super happy I found this program in Berlin in a business school, and this was exactly what I need. It still was something with China, and it's about business economy between Europe and China. So like every time it was like not thinking too much forward, but it's like, okay, I have a current challenge. I need to find suitable masters which fits my expectation. Then I found it. Then I studied for 2 years, and after finishing, already with the background I already had some thoughts about what my career should be. After finishing my masters, obviously I thought, okay, now I will work in a company which has something to do with China because of my language skills. I have my USP, Chinese language, and I knew already, okay, I will work in business which has to do with China, and this happened also. I found my first job after university in a chemical industry, in a company who had their daughter companies in China, in Shanghai, and I worked there for 3 years, and it was perfect for my background, that they needed my language skills, they needed my cultural skills, that I've been to there already. I'm the perfect coordinator between Germany, headquarter in Germany, and daughter companies in China, in actually in whole Asia Pacific. That was already perfect job for me. But then I switched to 1 year working in university. It was more project management and marketing. And then I worked after that in real estate, because it's also super interesting topic for me, and again in sales and marketing department for Chinese customers and partners. So basically I worked 10 years as an employee. It was mostly because of my USP Chinese language for Chinese partners and customers. This is my career. Also, many could ask why after working in chemical industry and real estate with Chinese customers, partners, and then now what I'm doing now, it's actually completely different. Unfortunately, at the moment, there are no much connections to my USP, let's say, to that USP. It started like this in 2017, although I had my full-time job, but I'm so hyperactive that just one full-time job wasn't enough. I was finishing at 5 in the afternoon, and I thought, what should I do with my time? And then by some chance, I found out that it's possible to do blogging on Instagram, and I started on Instagram. First, my channel actually started with talking about life in China. And then I did it like half year, and then I realized, okay, if I'm not there physically, I cannot write about this topic forever, because my information gets outdated. Then I realized I know more about Germany now. I already did my master's, I'm working here, I know more about here. I started switching my topic and writing about life in Germany, work, career in Germany, sharing my knowledge. I tried different directions. So it was some period of time when I was helping with immigration. I did consultations about immigration topics. Then I did, because I was already very good in social media, I reached like in 1-2 years 20,000 followers.
Wow.
And it was also a hot topic, and a lot of small businesses needed my knowledge. They were asking me to help with their accounts, and at that time it's not like now that everyone is almost a social media manager and creator. Back then it was super new, so I had some clients whom I helped with social media. I thought, okay, somehow social media, this topic is not big enough, like it's not something what I want to do long term. I just kept that I do social media management for myself, for my own channels. I want to proceed with other topic, and then it started being career coaching. 1.5 years ago I started on LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn already that was live and work in Germany career coaching. So already before LinkedIn I also help people with their careers, but especially when I started on LinkedIn 1.5 years ago, I saw the demand, and LinkedIn is actually perfect platform for being career coach, because actually your whole target group is there. And LinkedIn was great and generous with the views. And I have now almost 22,000 followers.
Wow.
And a lot of requests, and that's how I came from, let's say, from Instagram to immigration topics to social media services, and then career coaching, LinkedIn, and now after some years for career coaching, I add also recruiting, and their future plans are to be more in recruitment topics.
Well, that's very interesting. So like in the beginning you didn't have it, let's say, figured out, like, oh, this is the trajectory that I'm going to take, because that seems to be very troubling to young people when they're like, I need to have it all figured out. But sometimes life really takes its different turns. So maybe can you give some advice as to people who are starting off? You know, do they have to have it all figured out in the beginning, or do they just follow their instincts?
I would say following own intuition, because maybe 10-20 years ago it was like that it's better to choose right away after your bachelor, master's what you're gonna do. But in today's times everything is changing so fast. You have to be adaptive, you have to be resilient, you have to go with the time. And if you are super stubborn and you're saying like, okay, I only go with this direction, and maybe at some point it's not relevant anymore, and if you just keep stuck with that, then you're, let's say, not so relevant anymore. That's why, but it doesn't mean that we have to jump on each trend. In my case it was that I listened to my intuition. What do I want to do? Okay, even if social media is in super high demand, a lot of clients would need my help, but if I feel I have my glass ceiling there, and I don't feel that this topic is big enough for me, then it's also fine to say at some point, okay, it's great that I did it, I gained a lot of experience, but now I want only to do it for my own channels, go further with other topics.
Wow, interesting. That's very good advice. I suppose, obviously you've worked with many different clients. What would be the main pain points that your clients come to you?
It's very similar challenges, same with me before I came to Germany. So first of all, it really, although there much more information than it was before, it really also feels like a black box, and they have no idea how to enter, what are the requirements, how to prepare best. I wrote recently about that. The main challenges are a language. Not everyone is ready to start with completely new language, and they understand that it's necessary. In most jobs it's necessary to have fluent German, and even if some jobs are fine that you only speak English, then it's super competitive. The language challenge. Then financial challenges, it requires some investment. If you come for language courses, you need to have block account with 12,000. If you come with opportunity card, and it's also 12,000. So, and for us, 12,000 it's also a big amount, but for people from outside Europe, it's a lot of money. Yeah. So also it means that they need to save enough to come here, and this 12,000 is only the minimum requirement, and in the reality everything is much more expensive. I think 12,000 would be only enough for the rent, because the rent is now like minimum you can find is something like 1,000 euros with all utilities, and but then you also need money for your food and everything, all other costs, and that's why 12,000 is really not enough. Yeah, I would say so. Language, financial, and then some people have some family obligations, or they cannot move because of the family. Some people cannot imagine moving alone, but moving directly with family reunion, it's even more financial investment, and then it's not even clear if they will be eligible to come or not. Yeah, not with each visa type you can apply for family reunion. This is also one obstacle. Then also you need to have the courage to say, okay, I'm moving right now. Yeah, usually it's like, yeah, I want to move at some point, some when, and I would say this courage is also missing. But it's also a very long topic. What are the obstacles? What are the reasons and challenges?
Absolutely, yeah. And for anybody that's, let's say, experiencing those certain challenges, how can they best reach out to you?
I am very open on LinkedIn for questions. I try to answer all messages, and also in the comments you can write me a comment or write me an email, and I try to do my best to help, because I wish I had such same help when I just arrived to here. I had to figure out a lot by myself. I didn't know back then anyone in Germany. Yeah, my only contact point was language school, and their resources are also limited. They cannot help you with everything. If you're super stuck, and if you really like, you want to act, not just like you want something, but you want something and you're ready to act and actually do it, then it's better to talk to a consultant who will show you the whole picture, and then it's much less headache for you, and you are informed. And it's super important to be informed before doing something, not to do too many mistakes.
That will save a lot of headache, time, and money.
Yeah, definitely.
So just before we wrap up, what would be the final piece of advice that you'd give to somebody who's considering relocating?
Take the example of Karim. We just briefly talked to him. The thing is, we work together, and on some projects, and we never saw each other, but we were communicating online. And then he said, okay, I'm looking for what you will do next after your past job. And then I said, okay, if you're not stuck to one place, you are flexible, why not Berlin? Because in comparison to UK, it's much cheaper, the rent is cheaper, life is cheaper, and a lot of opportunities for freelancer. And I was actually surprised. I thought I will just tell you, and then you will not have this courage to move like that. But then you said you're already checking apartments. It was, I think, just 1 month that you decided, and you actually did it, and you just did it. So I think like this is a good example. Once you have a wish and you have the thought, then just find a way how to do it, instead of just keeping it as a wish, and then maybe later you will be disappointed that why didn't you do it right away. So it was also for me, before going to China, the decision was made within 1 month. It was like the opportunity came, okay, fast, and did the step. Same with after China to Germany also. The wish is there, the opportunity is there. Okay, like what are you waiting for? What do you think?
Exactly, I totally agree. I think if you have a plan, just execute it and take action. That's very important.
Well, I hope it was helpful for you today. This is our first podcast because of our anniversaries in Germany, and you are not in Germany yet, but you plan to move here. I hope it will be a good example for you as an encouragement. If you have the wish, just execute. Don't wait too long. The longer you wait, somehow the less ready you are to do something. Because if you already, for example, let's say you have a wish today, and if you say later in half year, you will have even less wish and courage to move. Then if you waited half year, why not to wait even more, half year more? And then with each age it's more difficult to move. Once you have the wish, just go for it.
Take action, guys.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Good luck.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Ciao.